My dick doesn't want to be around you.
I'm watching Cobra Kai.
It's good, right?
It's something.
Well, good being relative.
Well, you know what's weird about it is like I love the certain aspects of it that are just as ridiculous as the movie was in the 80s, where it's like these two people are hanging out at the mall and you're like, that doesn't fucking happen anymore. And one of them, somebody comes out of somewhere and like, there doesn't need to be a fight, but it always is. Every single time it's a fight. Every single time. Hey, cool out, and then they fight. Like at the drop of a fucking hat.
Well, how far into it are you?
I just started season 3.
Okay, so you've seen the karate fight in the high school then?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What a delightful set piece.
Well, you know what's just so funny is it's the thing that keeps happening where I'm like, they'd get arrested. They'd have got arrested from that. Cops would have been there.
Well, the fat guy's
Not this
beating
time.
up children, which I honestly appreciated. But
Yeah. Well, I don't know how they got away with that too. Everyone's just like, it's funny. It's a nice set piece, but then he's there at the fight.
That character was a big-time flatline for me. Stingray.
Yeah, you hated it?
I did not care for him.
It was like a producer's cousin who was like, sure, I can get you in there, kid.
He's the guy that played Richard Jewell in the Richard Jewell movie.
What?
Yeah, for real. Paul Walter Hauser. Don't ask me why I know.
He's the guy who played Richard Jewell?
Yep.
I thought that was the same guy who did maybe I'm thinking of a different Richard Jewell thing, because the Netflix recently did a Manhunt or something, and there's Richard Jewell in that, and it's played by the same guy who plays Ed Kemper.
I knew it before you said it. I was like, Cameron Britton.
Cameron Britton. I like him a lot. He's killing it, dude. He's in fucking everything.
They got to watch out, though. They're going to overexpose him, and he's going to be the next Pedro Pascal.
Dude, he's starting to... Did you watch the new Wonder Woman?
I sure did.
Because he's in that, and not to say that he's not committed to the role, but it kind of fell flat for me. I don't know how you feel.
Basically, what they did with Pedro Pascal was like, well, we want to do Latino Trump.
Oh, I feel, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I feel like it's hard to say that he didn't do a good job because...
But he didn't do a good job.
Well, the role is so fucking one-dimensional, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's super one-dimensional, that role. Like, I wish there'd been more explanation where it's like he knew about the thing that grants wishes and...
Well, yeah, how?
And he was smart enough to have, like, planned it out to, like, make this shit happen and... like to know the rules of it, even though it was made by a god. And all of this is obviously kind of spoily, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. You should have seen it by now. It's on HBO
don't
Max.
watch it.
Why doesn't everybody have HBO Max by now? You fucking...
Because Christopher Nolan called it the worst streaming service.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No
he
shit.
was pissed when they were like, we're releasing our entire 2021 slate to HBO Max and theaters. He was like, why don't you just tell me to lie down and piss in my mouth?
Just take a big shit on my face.
Like Dune. Dune is going to be like, they're trying to fucking make Dune the new hotness. Chalamet and Zendaya are the romantic leads.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I just always wonder sometimes where I'm just like, I just want to see some new faces in like a huge blockbuster film where I'm like, that dude probably did some great indie work no one's ever seen, and they know that he's a good actor, but they're just afraid that he's not going to pull, so they're getting Brad Pitt. Like, that's the sad thing about Hollywood now. I mean, not now. It's always been that, but
that
drives me nuts.
That's the star system. That's what it is. I mean, the lack of effort that got put into Wonder Woman 1984 is absolutely fucking staggering, especially considering how good the first one was.
Yeah. And you know what the thing was is that when they started it, though, like right when it started and they did the flashback, I was like, you guys...
They literally say nothing. They get Robin Wright to go in there, and her character's like consoling young Wonder Woman, and she's literally saying nothing. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but only slightly, but she's like, there is no shame in losing, because you only lose if you are not ready to win. And there is no truth but the truth which exists in the universe, that if you turn your back on it, that is the only way you can lose. So you will win your truth through the power of truth. And you're like, what?
It's also like she cheated during that little race thing, and you're sitting there like, you can't win because you cheated. Be like, just leave it at that. Just
cheaters never win.
Cheaters never win.
Theme stated.
Yeah.
Move on.
But it's like, why did you have to show that she knew the lesson? Is it because Pedro Pascal's character like cheats basically to get what he wants in life or something? Like, is that?
And they could have gone way more over the top with the deterioration with him. Like, physically, he starts like getting like bloody noses and stuff. But like, if they had really gone like David Cronenberg with it, like pieces of like his fucking ear falls off in the middle of a meeting with the Saudis or something.
Yeah. I need you to wish that my ear was back on.
Don't you wish I had 2 functioning ears? Yeah. They just turn into huge Mickey Mouse ears.
I sincerely do. Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, so much better.
Fucking awful.
Also, not lost on me, to hilarious effect, that there is a chase scene that takes place in Egypt, and Wonder Woman, played by an Israeli actor who was in the Israeli military, is just killing mad Arab dudes.
Yeah.
I had to laugh just a little bit.
That's true, isn't it? It's weird that became a theme for a little while in there.
They're just watching Wonder Woman 1984 in Palestine, and they're like, oh, it's like it's happening all over again.
You son of a bitch.
She killed my uncle at a bakery explosion.
It's really weird that you think about that, though. The way that theme is in there, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
But you have to, though, now, because of the way Hollywood kind of forces that shit down your throat. Isn't that right, wise one?
Isn't that right, Patty Jenkins? You didn't write the first one, and then so that's
what is Tilda Swinton doing here? All right, I'm sorry.
Go back to your baronessy, Tilda.
Yep.
Yeah, no, Patty Jenkins directed the first one. The first one, great fish out of water story.
I really like the first one
great
a lot.
Action. The only thing they fucked up was the end. Like, they never should have manifested Ares as an actual guy in a suit that they fight at an airstrip. It should have been.
That was kind of funny.
It should have been a concept. You can't fight a concept like warmongering, right?
Yeah.
That was an interesting.
But it wasn't
thing.
good enough for them because they're like, no, you don't understand. It's not that simple, Diana. Holy shit, it's that simple. It's fucking. That's right, Diana. I've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
And he fights her with his magic cane.
Batman had to fight a giant EDM golem made out of like Lex Luthor's pubes and General Zod's cum.
Yes,
and like
that is
made
true.
a monster that killed Superman. So we can't have Wonder Woman fighting an abstract concept.
No.
Her tits can't knock that over.
Well, that would have been great, but then there's no hero, there's no bad guy to vanquish for the hero to be like,
stop the war. Yes, there was a bad guy. It was Danny, the guy that kept sniffing the pills, the pillhead.
Well, yeah, and she killed him super easily, and she's like, wait, you're not Ares? So then Ares has to show up.
Well, the message should have been, oh my God, we're all Ares, because we all have war inside of us.
Nope, real person.
Yeah, no, it needs to be David Toulis in a fucking suit with dots on it so we can make him battle armor in CGI in post.
Well, I don't know how you end that movie, though. I mean, I guess you have it with her, like, pushing up the front and ending the war and, like, being, but then it goes against the argument being like, yeah, we won the war with war, though, so I kind of feel dirty at the end. Diana goes home and takes a bath.
Now that I'd watch.
They're like, I don't know how the whole movie wrapped up, but I was pretty satisfied with the ending.
The last 15 minutes were just her giving herself a cat bath.
Thanks, Gal Gadot.
Putting her leg behind her head and everything. It was magical.
Yep.
5 stars. Skimbo Lounge at the movies.
Well, some things happened in the beginning and the end, but did you see Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman costume attire? I was 5 stars. 5 stars across. Can we give him 6? You can't give him 6. Fuck you, 6 stars.
Which is like, in essence, they then basically turned Wonder Woman 1984 into like a referendum on the fact that women can't be friends. Like, Kristen Wiig's whole thing is like, I want to fuck Wonder Woman, but I'm jealous of Wonder Woman.
Well, the thing about it that bothered me was that
Kristen Wiig is also terrible in it.
Well, she's not great. She does like she's kind of like a sad, plucky comic kind of thing. It reminded me of Jim Carrey as Edward Nygma, kind of.
Yep.
A little bit. You get that in there, and I didn't believe really so much like. It was like the writers went, we can't really believably make Kristen Wiig hate Gal Gadot, so we'll say it's the spooky magic that does it, and like they just don't have to write that part in, They don't have to write the development of how she becomes resentful, the classic arc of 2 friends in a superhero story becoming one of them becoming the arch villain to the hero. Like they didn't have to write that in this. They just had to make it spooky god magic, and it just warped her mind.
So they instead had these 2 women have a literal cat fight
in the White House.
Yeah,
wasn't it in the White House? It was
no, the one where Kristen Wiig turns into a puma. That was
later on.
At the end
We're
of
talking
the
about the first fight when they're in the Oval Office. And Pedro Pascal's there trying to get the president to give him what he wants. And
who's not Reagan, apparently? I don't get it.
And so he's getting away. Yeah, what the fuck are they doing there? Alternate universe presidents, y'all. And Kristen Wiig shows up to help him get away, and they fight for that first time in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're sitting there being like, you guys couldn't just talk this out? You guys got to fight about it here?
And then they edited into the background a guy taking Pelosi's podium and just like sneaking out with it.
God, don't even get me started. Don't even fucking get me started.
I thought about that. I'm like, do we want to talk about the insurrection on the pod? Are we the guys to...
are we really the guys to crack that one?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've talked a lot about it with people, and I just, again, everyone's trying to be like, well, there's bad actors in every mob, you guys. I'm like, there was 1,000 people that stormed. Are all of them bad actors? I'm like, well, some people are like, well, they got paid, They got paid by people. Like, yes, they did. And then I linked to the pro-Trump funding that they got from it's getting tied back to legislators. And I'm like, the mob was funded by an alt-right group. So that's strike two. And then they're like, well, we're going to find out in the coming days about those bad actors because, I was like, yeah, you're right, because they're all on camera because none of them wore masks. A lot of them didn't because masks are bad because you can't get off the COVID thing either.
That's my favorite part is like any one of these fucking fuckos that got interviewed, they're like, I'm not giving my last name. I'm not stupid. Yeah, while a camera is on their unmasked face.
Like, you don't trust the government, but you've never heard of facial recognition software?
Like, hang on. I got to check Angry Birds. 1 second.
I just want to be like, I'm sorry, but if there's people who can put AOC's face onto a porn star in a deep fake...
Thank you for that, by the way.
Then what do you think the government can do with your face, you idiot? Like,
it's just so
the
fucking...
The porn people have the technology.
Oh, it's so dumb. And everyone's obsessed. I got to tell everyone, you're all obsessed with the guy in the fur hat and the horns that has face painted and all the tattoos and his chest out. Big-time neo-Nazi. That is Jack Angelus, who is the fucking editor-in-chief of the Daily Stormer.
A
Nazi rat.
An affiliate of Skimbo Front.
Close friend of the show, Jack Angelus.
But that's my point, is they're sitting there, these are all bad actors. I'm like, well, let's wait until the photo of them, at the crime scene gets matched next to their mugshot, and you get that news report that tells us about what they were up to prior to the incident. And we can all find out together whether they're all paid actors cashing in their Soros bucks so that they can go and do it. Like, come on. If you really believe that, someone try to find and explain it to me in a coherent way.
They can't.
I'd be like, there's so many people there, and there were so many Trump flags. Like, you're telling me that every person that was like climbing the Capitol building walls was a paid actor that was Antifa or was BLM for some reason trying to make them look bad? I don't think anyone needs to try to make Trump supporters look bad anymore. I don't think there's like, oh my God, here's the agenda. We're going to get into that crowd of Trumpers who stormed Capitol Hill and make them look worse. How?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
And to be fair, I understand the suspicion.
No fair. Go on.
I understand the instinct for suspicion.
Sure.
Because I, too, would have expected a Million MAGA march to take place entirely on electric mobility scooter.
Me too, huh?
To be fair. So there were too many fit people. I understand the confusion.
There was a lot of fat poking out of Kevlar vests on Wednesday. Let me tell you what.
It is pretty funny to watch some of these guys like, yeah, it's my tactical vest. And they've just got like a blub roll coming out the side of it.
My favorite has been sometimes you go online and you see like actual members of the military being like, that doesn't fit that guy. That doesn't fit that guy. That guy's dressed for the fucking desert. Yeah. What are you people doing? That guy's not holding his gun right.
That guy will be decapitated if he does try to use that.
Yeah,
the way that he's holding it. Yeah.
And you're just like, these people are morons.
No, they're the ones that are going to defend us from the tyranny of the government, Rory.
Dude, I keep seeing people like on Twitter who are sitting there being like, if it comes to that, I'm going to stand with my brothers. And I'm like, which brothers you talking about? I'm pretty sure, you're a hood away from, I'm not even going to fucking.
Go for it.
Is frustrating. It's frustrating to hear these people so confidently talk about how Donald Trump is still somehow going to turn this all around. Not for them, for the country. Because we need saving, even if we don't want it. And I just want to be like, you're so... Like, this is the condescension that lost the Democrats the election in 2016 in the first place. And it's almost sweet to see it happen on the other end, but so far past the loss that they're just like, you're going to see. I'm waiting for like 80-year-old people wearing their tattered MAGA hats and like 20, 35, like years later, like, it'll happen. One of these days, he's going to prop out of the grave and come and save us all. Because I don't know where it ends. Like, he lost the fucking election. This crazy shit happens. They're talking about impeaching him for a second fucking time before the 20th because the president needs to get set. He got kicked off of social media. He's gone. He doesn't have a platform. They're starting to deplatform Parler, by the way, which is super interesting, which is the alt-right Twitter. And somehow people are sitting there being like, it's not over till it's over. Stay strong, brother.
Hey, we got till the 20th.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there being like, what are you guys going to do between then and now? Yeah. That's the thing that actually kind of scares me because we're looking at a situation where the cops just stood the fuck down. Not all of them, but some of them. When you got video of them being like, here's those barricaded gates that they use, those big metal gates. If you've ever been in New York City and you've walked down any of the major streets, you see them all the fucking time because something's gated off somewhere. And they have those up at D.C. barricading people between, where they're at in the Capitol building, and you watch cops just move them out of the way. And you're sitting there like, I don't understand what the precedent for this is. Is it them just recognizing that there's 2 police officers there and 150 to 200 people on the other side joining the mob, and if they don't move out of the way, they're going to get steamrolled, which is a fair assessment because it happened to a couple of cops. But also, where are the rest of the police? There's 12,000 police officers in D.C. active. So
yeah, I just want to be like, I thought you guys loved shooting people. Like, what have you?
Yeah, it's weird. And it's weird now that since this has happened, all of the Trump supporters now think not. All right, so let's take the count. Police are traitors now because it's funny when it's BLM, but it's shitty when it's us. And Mike Pence is now a traitor. Mm-hmm. Fox News is a traitor. Mm-hmm. Twitter is now a traitor because they finally deplatformed Trump.
Mitch McConnell's
a traitor. Probably a lot of other traitors out there that I'm missing. I just don't know the minutia of alt-right ideologies anymore because it changes so quickly. Yep. It changes so fast. William Barr, he's probably a traitor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's just it's a growing list. Nobody's friends with us but us.
Well, we can only hope, Rory, that they make like all good cults and find something delicious with which to.
Did you know?
Lace some hemlock. And
Did you know if we all drink the hemlock on Thursday, all of us will ride to Valhalla on Trump's ass?
We're going to ascend, and then we all get a fancy furry helmet, just like Jack Angelus. Yeah. I'm obsessed, dude, because there were... people fucking snitch on themselves because they create these purity tests where it's like, if you watch Parks and Recreation and don't cover your eyes and plug your ears and scream whenever Aziz Ansari is on the screen, then you're a fucking fascist and a male chauvinist pig. And you go, okay, duly noted.
That's an interesting line.
But then those same people are like, not gonna lie, I know he's like evil or whatever, but the guy in the furry helmet is actually kind of built.
He's kind of cute.
You're creaming your fucking panties for a Nazi.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
But I'm the jerk because I think Aziz Ansari's got a path to redemption.
Oh, poor Aziz Ansari.
And I find that instinct for retribution strange.
I see.
Especially in a universe where people are going, not going to lie, that Nazi could get it. I would let that Nazi hit the back walls.
Different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Apparently.
Yeah. Well, I guess on that point, I would say that I side with the women who listen, and I think you're a monster.
I'm a monster?
Me too.
Well, it's funny. I got Me Too'd several times. I was a literal prostitute for a year. Like,
that's beautiful.
Hello? No one cares what happened to me.
It's a beautiful dream. Yeah, white cis male piece of shit.
Basically. No one cares that I was literally exchanging sex for money and
This has
favors.
secretly been the first episode of Skimbo Front.
We snuck it in there.
You didn't even notice.
We didn't do a lot of fanfare.
I'm going to get a lot of questions from people like, do you really believe that? And I'll be like, it's a comedy show.
Yeah, I don't know. We're all over the fucking place now.
Maybe that'll be our downfall.
This episode?
Yeah.
I sure fucking hope so.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm getting sick of doing this.
Getting tired.
It's getting old.
I thought we would be a cult by now.
Yeah.
You know,
Thanks a lot, guys.
I was waiting for people to like tattoo, like instead of the eyes on the hands, like it's just a picture of us on one and the other. One means yes and one means no, but secretly they both mean no. And then they get into violent fights, like it's Clockwork Orange. We form a weird gang.
I was kind of hoping for more of a Nexium type situation.
Oh, yeah?
Where the women brand themselves.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. With our initials.
Yeah.
Or just Skimbo.
Yeah, we got SL.
SL.
UT, am I right, bro?
Gross.
Spell slut. I don't know if you guys know that.
I don't think our audience can spell.
That's very true.
Yeah.
They don't know how to bathe. As I've often said, prisoners in their own bodies. We're just trying to free them.
Wouldn't it be great if, like, the #1 podcast among the prison community, Skimbo Lounge?
Prisoners, shut-ins, and the obese.
You know, you'd be really surprised the number of people who've been shanked to Skimbo Lounge. It's a lot. You put it on, everyone gets really calm, and you can really get some work done.
We should sell Skimbo shanks.
We got Jimmy the Stool really fast.
Yeah. We'll make Skimbo toothbrushes and then personally chop the heads off and sharpen them into shivs.
Yeah, specifically make them sharp.
Yeah.
That's the Skimbo guarantee.
We send a handwritten note and we're like, yeah, you didn't commit the crime. We totally believe you. And as a token of our support, why don't you have this nice shiv?
Yeah. Why don't you have this wonderful toothbrush?
Think of us when you stick it into an Aryan Brotherhood member's neck.
Choose carefully.
See, we're anti-white supremacy. We're calling it out. We're giving people the tools to fight it.
Somebody does it and it breaks off. Son of a bitch, this is a piece of shit.
God damn it.
And then he dies.
I should have gotten the my brother, and me version of the shank.
You guys remember that one? My brother, and me?
Did you hear about that shit, by the way?
What?
So they've got a theme song on their show that was written by this guy who... And Jeff sent it to me, and then I, unraveled the rest. But so the guy that does the theme song for that podcast, which I've never fucking listened to, I have no interest. The guy that does their theme song started a thread where he was like, I was sitting at home doing a puzzle, and my daughter decided she was hungry. And I said, make some baked beans, and she didn't know how. And it turned into this long-ass fucking thread of how this guy essentially, wasn't going to open the can of beans for his kid.
Uh-huh.
He was going to make her figure it out because she's not mechanical. And so he's like, yeah, and after 6 hours, she couldn't figure out how to open the beans. But then she finally did it, and now she's trying to open every can in the place. Are children funny? And the internet's reaction to that was, well, you're a sociopath who is abusing his child. She should be taken away from you. You should be sent to a gulag, and we should erase all memory that you ever existed.
Everybody always wants to raise everybody else's kids. Am I right?
Am
I right, you guys?
Just kind of a natural instinct we all have.
I mean, that's a lot of what goes on the internet. You see, somebody who's like, I think today is a wonderful day, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day, too. And they're like, blow it out your ass, you skank.
What about this ironic tweet where you pretended to be anti-Semitic?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what happened to Baked Beans' dad. They dug up a bunch of old tweets where he was doing, ironic misogyny and ironic anti-Semitism, and they were like, oh, hey, at my brother, and me, is this really the type of person you want singing for 30 seconds before your shitty podcast?
Yeah.
Please reply or you'll be canceled.
Like, Jesus Christ, you guys, really?
And I read the whole thread, and everyone that's like, oh, he's traumatizing his daughter, he abused her, et cetera, et cetera. I go, you didn't grow up the way that I grew up, which was on a farm with my father and his parents. And I'll tell you how our days went. You wake up at the crack of dawn to take a cardboard box and pick up chunks of white dog shit that are out on the lawn. Some of them I'm convinced came from wolves. But you're just picking up pieces of shit, and you bring the box up to your dad, and you go, okay, here's the box of white dog shit. And he goes, you've done a good job. And then he leans in and goes, I heard you call me a retard under your breath during prayers the other night.
Which is totally true.
Who's the retard now? And he hands you a fork and goes, you're not leaving until you eat all the white dog turds. This is how I was raised.
Literal.
So Baked Bean Dad is nothing compared to mine. Thank you very much.
People are like, oh, my God. Just you eating chalky turds.
Let me tell you something. You'll be praying for a wet one
this
after
is the
3 of them.
worst 7th birthday ever.
Basically.
Well, I mean, you did have the kind of dad who was like, I'll get you next year.
Yeah, basically. That's what he loves to do IOUs for
Once
Christmas
again,
gifts.
Jesus Christ.
He's
already
like,
been around.
Jesus' birthday already? Have a samurai sword.
Yeah.
And then a 5-year gap of IOUs, and then
I'm going to buy your sister a gun.
Yeah.
Are we joking? We're not.
Dude, I am starting to enter like a Jack Nicholsonian psychological tailspin because I work for him in his office and like I can't deal with the people anymore, man. They call up and they're like, yep, here's the situation. I bit my dog because he's being an asshole and it pulled all my feelings out. So you better get me in right fucking now or I'm going to go in there and raise Cain.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish you would show up so that I could kill you myself.
Well, dude, first off, people are so fucking bold on the phone that you just be like, I never in my life want to go back into customer service ever again or any phone-based sales because I tell you what, I've done both. And it's a goddamn nightmare. For every nice person, there's 20 people just willing to treat you like shit because you're the guy at the job and you're supposed to cater to them at every fucking way. Because even though you're probably getting under fucking paid to do the job, you should be tickled pink to have to speak to some 43-year-old woman with a marb red in her fucking mouth sitting in her pink bathrobe as she stares out at her dog biting at the mailman about why everything is everybody else's fault and you need to drop whatever you're doing to help fucking her. Even though the only problem is, shit, customer service, I don't know how to turn on my computer. Well, have you tried plugging it in? Well, gee, I'm no rocket scientist, Superman. Why don't you guys come over and do it for me? The number of times, like, because I did IT back in college, too. That was, like, my first tie with the stupidity of people. And not oftentimes the result was, you have the Ethernet cord plugged into your phone line and your phone plugged into the Ethernet line. And all you had to do was just try to switch them once. Yeah, you know.
Well, it's not intuitive.
Yeah, I'd be like, this one has a phone on it.
Yeah.
The other one has a little box that looks like a computer. Oh, that's what that box mean? I thought it was a fancy phone. I thought it was phone and phone. I thought it didn't matter. I hate you, sir. I hate you.
Well, another one of the greatest hits was early on in the Trump administration when I was, again, working in the front desk at a medical office at a physical therapy facility.
Yep.
This fucking fat broad comes in, this 65-year-old woman in a MAGA shirt that's riding up on her, so covered in worn-over stretch marks that it's purple.
Yeah, I like that.
It looks like Krang from
I can
Teenage
see her.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just hanging out the front of her fucking
Quinn,
sweat.
start the reactor.
It's fucking gnarly.
Queen.
So she shows up, ostensibly so that someone has to smell whatever's brewing in those sweatpants as they help her, like, stick bands around her feet and try to regain some hip mobility because she's fused with her fucking lazy boy. But she's in there in her 4XL MAGA shirt, eating Burger King in the lobby.
Just brought it on the way.
Yeah, well, it's right there.
Yes.
It's right next door. And so, which I guess I just gave away where I used to work, but that's literally what happened. Is she's like, well, I gotta go get my pussy stretched out, so might as well buy some BK on the way in.
Jesus Christ.
So she's just eating it like a velociraptor devouring a small hog, and there's just mayonnaise splat hitting the floor, and I'm like, well,
Those little piece of lettuce that there's
like,
always in the
I have to clean that. So I went out and I was like, ma'am, am I really supposed to have food in here? Can I at least ask you to eat over the table, subtext, like a human being?
Yeah, but there is literally a table here you could do that on.
Maybe use your opposable thumbs and hover your meal over the table as you eat it? And she was just like, I have the right to do whatever I want to do. The last time I checked, this was a free country. And I said, you are correct, ma'am. It is a free country. And I am imploring you to please help me maintain some of my freedom by not going to jail for stabbing you in the fat neck because you're dropping your fucking mayonnaise from your shitty sandwich on the goddamn floor. I will have to clean this later. For the love of Christ, would you stop eating the cheeseburger and just sit here in quiet misery like the rest of us? She did not like that.
Probably got you in trouble, did
she? Refused to comply. Well, I was obviously a sweetie about it. I'm like, oh, hi there. Can you not eat your gross burger?
Can you please do this thing to help me?
Please. And she told me to go literally told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah.
And
I don't need this job enough for this.
But the thing is, I did.
Yeah.
I needed the money. So you have to sit there and take that shit. She
Every
literally
time.
got to, with a mouthful of burger, go, yeah, go fuck yourself, cuck. Mm-hmm. And I went, uh-huh. Thank you very much, ma'am, and walked away. And you can complain to someone, and I did. And they went, well, what do you want me to do about it? I'm like, I don't know. Shoot her? in the fucking face, or let me do it. I don't know, something. You can't let people get away with this because 4 years later, they try to do an insurrection on the Capitol.
There she was. I saw her.
We let this happen.
She charges.
You're so busy thinking about Louis C.K.'s fat, gross cock that you don't think about these MAGA dorks and how we need to clip their wings now.
I see.
So they can't blossom.
Now it all makes sense.
I tied it in.
You see, we had to talk about Louis C.K. so that people knew where to direct their rage.
Exactly.
At the people who really deserve our rage. The people who are mean to service workers.
Specifically people that are mean to me.
I see. Because like those people I would say are on the bottom of my list of people I give a shit about. Are the kind of people who like you see them when they go to restaurants and they go, well, it's their job to wait on me. You know, and you go, that's a person. You could have a little bit of human decency. Like I remember back when I used to work at this restaurant and I was waiting tables, and it'd be the same story anytime there was like an event over at the Opera House. And people would rush in and they'd go, the thing's at 7 and it's 6 now and we can totally make it. And you look around and you go, we're kind of fucking slammed. And they don't really give a shit. They don't tell you that they've got somewhere to be in an hour. They just expect that when they order a full set of entrees for 4 of them, that somehow they're going to be out of there in under an hour with enough time to get back to their cars and head over to where they're going and give the person their tickets and get up to their seats and not interrupt the fucking show. And when it doesn't happen, you're the person they get to complain to as the waiter. Is there any way you can make our food quicker than all the other people who got here before us? That's not. If I go back into that kitchen and I ask the chef anything, he's going to stab me with one of the very large knives he uses regularly. He shows them to me. He shows me the knives.
Yeah, you're going to be eating soup with my blood in it.
Yeah, so why do you think, like, do you want to go talk to them? Because they'll tell you to get the fuck out of their kitchen. I remember I did that, and, like, I was totally, because, again, I'm younger at this point. I'm totally fucking crestfallen, and I walk away. And the guy who owned the place kind of sucked. But his wife was working that night, and she was like the nicest person ever. And she knew them. And she was like, I'm just going to take that table. And went over and started talking to them. And they immediately realized what cunts they had been. For the first time, it's never happened in the history of ever waiting tables or doing service work like that, where one of them came up to me later and was like, I'm really sorry that we yelled at you like that. That wasn't your problem. We got here late. We should have known that there was no like way you could help us in any way. I'm sorry. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. Except that you weren't the person who did any of the fucking yelling. But hey, you take the battles that you can. I don't get it.
Well, I have a solution to all of this, Rory, and it is elegant in its simplicity.
Kill these people?
Arm everyone. We'll all have guns, and then we'll all not have these arguments
Give
anymore.
it like 5 years. Give it like 5 years. Whole country will be armed.
Seriously, can you imagine?
They'll start giving out kids' meals at
Make
McDonald's.
my fucking soup! I don't think so. We're pretty slammed.
Is that the McGun? I don't trust that thing.
The McGun would be an incredible toy.
The McGun.
A McDerringer for the kids.
Little McDerringer.
It's pink.
It shoots little Derringer rounds, which are little BBs. Pa! Just enough to make someone go, oh, you hit me.
Oh, shot with his own McGun. Mm-hmm. That's fun.
I give it a couple years. I can't believe the McGun hasn't rolled out. You'd think that'd be like a product of the 80s, though.
Yeah.
You know? But they were like, at the time, maybe they were too worried about their margins. We don't know if we'll ever sell 1 billion burgers, they says to themselves. And so they were like, we can only afford cheap plastic right now. But being the gun-loving franchise that we are, we know that a receiver can't be made of plastic.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not until the 3D printing community comes around. But they don't know about that yet. Not in the 80s.
Ray Kroc, you're crazy. 3D printing.
Hang him. Put him in that little chair that they dunk the witch into the water, and then they lift her up. You know the thing that was like the seesaw, but it goes into like the pit of water. They used to put witches down, and they would drown them.
Oh, I thought they just burned witches, or just like
they did all kinds of different
here,
tortures.
catch, and would throw them like a ceiling tile, and they drowned.
If she floats, she's a witch, and if she drowns a good Christian woman with rocks in her pockets.
Yeah, hey, it makes sense to me.
A lot of good Christian women on the bed of those Salem rivers. Those aren't rocks; those are bones.
Yeah.
Okay, there are some rocks because again, they weighted them down with rocks.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it all just, sugars off in the end.
I'd like to think it all worked out.
It.
Isn't it great? I mean, Salem...
You don't see any witches around these days, do you?
Yeah, right.
Except for all the girls on Instagram, they're like, I'm feeling a little witchy vibes. Yeah. I'm going to burn some sage and I'm going to fucking...
What the fuck does that mean? I'm calling it right now. It confuses the shit out of me.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.
I've got these special rods that when I walk towards you, they push away because they feel your forces. Bitch, that's gravity.
Yeah, that's a divining rod.
That's literally
does not work how you think it does.
It's literally a divining rod, and it's literally weak and strong forces.
My favorite people are the boyfriends
of those people.
When their girlfriends are just like, well, let's just put it this way: I have a little bit of a connection to the trees. I don't want to say I can talk to them, but I can definitely communicate their needs. I have an empathic connection to trees. And you watch the guy go.
Yes,
it's true. My ficus was dying. I know. Hey, I know how this sounds, but my ficus was dying, and she poured some water. She poured some water in the dirt, and it wasn't dying anymore.
Turns out yelling at my plants didn't make them better.
She encouraged it to grow again and put mineral nutrients in the soil, but I don't think those two things are connected. She could talk to trees.
She's a fucking witch. She really is.
I love eating her pussy, so I'm going to keep saying. That she can talk to trees.
Wild thicket that it is. I don't know. She doesn't use deodorant. She uses some kind of crystal. But I love her.
Yeah, I love me some witch pussy.
It's just always so good because there's always that clever thing where they know that you don't believe it, and so they look at you like they're sage. It's like I sense that you're a skeptic.
Holy shit! Not anymore. You're good.
Oh wow! Look at that. That's incredible. I don't know. Look. I'm fine with everyone believing what they want to believe.
Sure.
I have a hard time with things like astrology. You know why? Because we're on a planet that's surrounded by stars that have been shining light down for light years. Some of those stars aren't in those places anymore. 1,000 years from now, none of the constellations are going to look quite like they do now.
Burn out at a certain point.
And so to say that the place that we're at in aligning with the stars where they are because of our specific perspective doesn't make a lot of fucking sense to me. It's like, could I be a Cancer if we'd been born in Rigel 4 on the other side of the fucking... what does being a Taurus mean for those people? My birthplace and all of this somehow imbued me with these certain energies and characteristic traits that I carry forever that are always influenced by the movement of the celestial bodies. Except here's the thing. We're the ones that are moving. We are moving. The sun isn't just stationary and everything's moving around the sun. The sun is moving around the center of the galaxy, kind of up and down in a sine wave. And all of the planets are in trail, and they're all kind of spinning while they're in trail. And every time we go through galactic center, we pull a bunch of asteroids with us, and that's usually what kills the dinosaurs and all of the other things. The mass extinction events oftentimes are when we pass through this galactic center, trailing a bunch of shit with us, and on our way back up, it all comes smack and hits the shit out of us. And it's because of the gas giants that a lot of it doesn't hit, but you can't catch them all. Kind of it's like reverse Pokemon. And, I feel like that kind of garners the universe a little bit more than the crab sign.
That's such a Cancer thing to say, Rory.
I am a Cancer, so fuck you. I don't know. I feel like human life and all of this is very much impacted by how you perceive all of it. So I'm not going to say that there aren't people out there that follow astrology who have it directly affect their lives in meaningful ways. But I also understand that humans are pattern-seeking animals.
Well, and you will see that's the clever design of it. And I will offer the caveat that I am extremely interested in astrology.
More interested than Christianity.
Just only because I grew up in that and was like, no, thank you, not for me. But I do find religion and spirituality interesting because it's trying to answer the question we all have.
Oh, it's fascinating. Don't
Life after death, why are we here, etc. Why are we the way we are? So it's interesting. And I talk to a lot of our friends that do believe in this. Huey.
Yeah.
I ask them questions about it, not to make fun of them, but I want to know more about it, understand why you feel the way you feel and what's interesting about it to you. So with all of that out of the way, the clever design in most astrology stuff is that even when they're talking about the flaws of the sign, because the compliments are all I'm a Scorpio, right? And I'm like weirdly proud of it because it's like the most evil sign in the zodiac.
Really? I feel like mine's the most antsy and cynical. So I like that too. You're right.
Makes
Nice.
sense.
Yeah.
Scorpios are just like evil psychopaths. They're like, I love you, so I burned down your parents' house.
Damn it.
And I'm like very proud of that because I think that reflects me. But that like, so as a Scorpio, your traits are supposed to be like, okay, they're passionate, they're creative, they're vain, they're mysterious, etc. And then their bad qualities, it's like the equivalent of going into a job interview and being like, I think my biggest flaw is I care too much.
Yeah.
So like the flaws in the zodiac, it's never like you have a predisposition to be a murderer. It's never couched like that. It's never to make you think like, oh, there are negatives and positives to my sign. It's all about making you feel good and explaining your behavior so you really don't have to take any accountability to it because you're like, that's where the stars were when I was born.
Yeah, I can't help that I stabbed that person in the neck at the Starbucks. We're in Scorpio moon rising. I don't know any of it. Don't be wrong. I find this stuff fascinating because every now and then you run into somebody who like can tell you about your astrological sign or like numerology or those little things.
Palmistry.
Yeah.
I like that
and
stuff.
that stuff is always really fascinating for me because all of the numbers in my life are all like, I was born in 88. I was born on the 22nd. And so they're always like, oh, that's so interesting. I'm like, sure, go ahead.
Fun fact about 88.
Spill it over me.
If we match 8 and 8 to the alphabet, it's H and H, which is code for Heil Hitler.
Fuck you.
Which the Nazis use.
Really? Wow.
So I'm not saying Rory was born to be a Nazi.
Oh, wow. So many things are lining up. Forgive Louis C.K. but it is funny. Like I always like when people have tarot cards around and stuff. I always find that stuff super fun.
It's fun. It's interesting.
I always get the death card pulled. You guys keep telling me it's a positive thing, but look where my life is. So I don't necessarily believe you.
Yeah, and it's this whole thing like, well, if you get the card upside down and it's a good card, it means you're fucked.
Yeah,
like,
so it means great change is coming. I'm like, I move places for fun. Of course great change is coming.
Yeah. It's going to suck. I'm going to have to find a whole new KFC. Like,
oh, God, it's awful. I hope Popeye's Chicken is where I'm going next.
Yeah. I don't know. To put a button on this, because I don't want to... Again, we have friends that... Whether they genuinely believe in this to the point that it governs their life, I can't say. I just know I've had multiple conversations with people that I truly don't know if they listen to the show.
Oh, I don't want anyone to feel like their feelings are hurt.
It's
because
a comedy show.
Look, I'm not Jewish either, so if you're a Jew and I don't believe that, don't be offended. I don't believe in any religions. It's like what
Jews aren't real. They can't hurt you.
Wasn't it Stephen Fry, I think, who was saying? I think it was him who started to coin the phrase where it was like, don't be offended because you believe in this religion that I don't, or this belief that I don't. You don't believe in all of the other stuff, and then you believe in this one. I don't believe in all the other stuff minus one.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only difference. You just believe in plus one more thing than me, and that's fine. We agree on everything else, so let's not get bogged down over the fact that I don't necessarily believe in this. If it works for you, it works. And I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be wrong. I hope. Does that make you feel better?
I put some money on it.
It doesn't. Look, we're all going to find out. One day we're all going to die. Like, no, but that's not what it's about. It's about the way you live your life. I'll go, yeah, and I'll find out that I was wrong when I was dead.
Yeah, and they'll be like, you should have been worse to people. The order of the universe is to engender more chaos, and it endears chaos to you. And you will prosper in the next phase of existence.
It's like, Rory, listen, I'm God, and you had to get hit by that car or else the next Hitler would have been born. That doesn't make any fucking sense, God. Yeah, mysterious ways. Just
I'm so fucked up right now, man. I don't know where I am.
I got to tell you, man.
I snorted a nebula, and I ain't been right since.
I'm just ever since George Carlin got here. It's been fucking...
Yeah.
It's been all downhill. I don't know why I let that dude in.
Here. The lube is getting cold.
Why'd I let that guy in here?
George Carlin is fucking God. That irony's not lost on me.
Yeah. They're in a sexual relationship.
I'd say really happy.
Yep.
This seems healthy.
Look at him. He's like The Good Place. He's over there snorting the concept of time.
Yeah.
Oh, George.
Speaking of The Good Place, you did not know that I had this one in the chamber. So maybe there is a God, and he was leading us to this. Have you ever looked up what Jamila Jamil, like some of the things she said about her life?
No.
She plays Tahani on The Good Place.
No, I don't know much about her life, though.
So the thing is, like, people are very divided on her. She's either an inspirational figure or she's a total shithead. because like she got in trouble for like she was a judge on a drag show and people were upset. They're like, what does she know about it? She's this like beautiful like
we really need there to be some authority here.
Yeah, and there's
fun show about having fun dressing up.
Yeah, basically. And they're like, well,
and to clarify, I don't mean like that big like the drag lifestyle is just about dressing up. I mean, but that's probably what the contest was. You got to be clear.
I'm sure it was. It was like you get a GNC Sierra if you hide your fucking penis the best. I don't know. You have the most clever drag name because some of them are great. Tequila Mockingbird,
that's
excellent.
That's pretty fucking
good. Hell in a Handbasket, flawless.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
So she ended up being asked to judge this drag show, and people were upset because they're like, it's steeped in the like Black and Latino LGBT community from New York. What does a British Pakistani woman, like cis woman, know about this?
But isn't she all about championing like self-rights and positive body identity and
yeah, and then
like
she like came out as queer in response to the controversy, and everyone's like, you know what? When Kevin Smith got accused of raping mad dudes, he officially came out as gay and tried to use that as a cover, and we didn't forgive him for it.
Yeah, and we
so
didn't
don't
believe
do it, Jamila.
Yeah.
So
all right, Jamila, kiss this girl. Get Kristen Stewart in here.
You won't. The real Jamila would.
Yeah, she's like, oh, drat.
Yep. Foiled again. No.
That's how we should test. That's how you get your stripes. Bring out Elliot Page. And no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not that woke, I guess.
No. And with good reason.
Yeah, I guess. But you know, it's weird the way celebrities do that kind of shit.
No, it's even weirder, Rory. That was all.
This is all preamble.
The prelude. She is legitimate. I almost feel bad bringing it up in a comedy context. It's just
this hasn't been a funny episode. We're fine.
It's just too funny anyway. She's like legitimately mentally ill, and I can say that because
she might be.
I'm bipolar, and as we know, I'm a dirty bipe.
Wear it on your fucking sleeve.
That's our word, and I've given you permission to say bipe, but that's it.
Oh, good. I'm glad I got the pass. I was going to say, make a trophy of it. You carry it around. I'm bipolar.
I'm just going to wear it.
Look at me. I'm so sad.
I'm going to wear the shirt. I'm bipolar, and that's okay until it isn't.
What are you looking at on the back?
So from one fucking nutcase to another, allow me to diagnose Jamila Jamil. That bitch has Munchausen syndrome. Bad.
Really?
Have you ever taken a gander at her Wikipedia?
No.
Well, allow me. I've got it right here.
And define again. I'm right at the moment. I forget what Munchausen's is specifically. So give me a refresher.
In essence, it's basically like a medical condition that's defined as like you are pretending to be sick and injured all the time.
It's a victim complex,
so that
but
people
clinical.
It's for attention. Yeah, and you're like really convinced of this. So like let's just start with early life, right?
Ooh, fun. We're going to go down the timeline here.
She has stated in 2015 she was born with congenital hearing loss and labyrinthitis, which she has what is labyrinthitis? Inflammation of the inner ear.
Oh.
So she was born with hearing loss and inflammation of the inner ear, 70% hearing in her left, 50% in her right. She was also diagnosed at 9 with hypermobility Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which affects the connective tissue of the body. Also diagnosed with celiac. She was poisoned with mercury at 21 from fillings in her teeth.
What the fuck?
It exacerbated... wait.
Okay, well, some of this sounds legit, though. It sounds like a very unfortunate life so far.
Mercury burned holes in her digestive system. Have you seen this bitch, Rory?
Yes.
I doubt she has holes in her digestive system and issues with her connective tissue.
Are you calling her fat?
I wish she was. You know my policy. Chub them up.
Watch out. I mean, you never know. You never know if she has issues with her connective tissue.
She might. And I believe that
you never pay attention. You go back and you watch The Good Place and she's just all over herself when she walks. I did not notice that. And I feel bad making a joke about it now.
I could believe that she suffered from things like anorexia and stuff that it's common in young women. But like, the prelude to her life was like, she was born like as damaged as a Habsburg baby. She's like got as many issues as like an inbred or like a poorly bred dog.
Like an inbred.
Like a dirty inbred. So, okay, the personal life stuff. I'm sorry. One of these is really funny.
Jesus.
It's why I brought the whole thing up. Jamil has been in a relationship with musician James Blake since 2015. She came out as queer after her appointment as a judge of the voguing reality series Legendary received backlash. Because voguing ball culture is rooted in Black and Latino LGBTQ communities in New York, as I said.
Yep.
This is the thing that I love. It's just so funny to me. I don't know why.
You're building it up.
I'm not going to be able to get
now.
through it. In interviews, Jamil has mentioned several bee attacks in her life, including being hit by a car at age 17 while running away from a bee. In 2015,
that's not a bee attack, madam. That's not paying attention to where you're running after a bee flies around your head.
That is existing in proximity of a bee.
That is not an attack. That bee was out for me.
In 2015,
lured me
Jamila claimed that while she was interviewing musician Mark Ronson in the Hollywood Hills, the biggest swarm of killer bees she had ever seen made them retreat. Ronson contradicted Jamil's version of events.
He was like,
shocker.
Like there was like 3 bees.
Describing 1 or 2 individual bees and walking slowly inside in response. Jamil related that while filming the first season of The Good Place in 2016, she was chased by a dark swarm of bees and was once again hit by a car. In 2019, Jamil states she ran away from bees while crossing the road to the UN headquarters to give a speech and was again hit by a car. So she's been attacked by bees and hit by cars multiple times.
3 times.
Count them 3.
I think like she must be made of like some kind of steel then, because getting hit by cars fucks you up.
Yes, Rory, it does. As does like having large portions of your breasts removed. And I don't know if anyone's seen The Good Place, but those things are out.
Yeah,
pretty much the
That's
whole
true.
show.
Yeah.
And like
so that happened as well.
She said she had several lumpectomies. Of precancerous cells. She had cervical cancer twice and has Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
She's got a lot of stuff going on.
It's a lot. How does she get out of bed in the morning?
She's a very, very strong woman. Very strong.
She has anxiety, depression, and obsessive compulsive disorder.
I mean, but who doesn't?
She survived a suicide attempt in 20-something. She had attempted suicide for the second time in 8 years for a nervous breakdown.
Yes, you're right. This is hilarious stuff.
In 2020, because of alleged inconsistencies in her accounts of illnesses, allergies, assaults, accidents, and injuries, Jamil was accused of having Munchausen syndrome, wherein those affected feign disease, illness, or psychological trauma to draw attention, sympathy, or reassurance to themselves. She denied that she has the condition.
Well, wouldn't somebody who has Munchausen's go, yes, gimme.
That's the one thing I don't have.
Yeah.
Right?
You
so,
never
like,
know.
I'm not trying to, she's clearly severely ill. I'm not trying to mock that.
I mean, yes, you are.
Bee thing. I'm mocking the bee thing. The bee thing is
wild.
Absolutely fucking hilarious.
Well, it just makes me wonder if getting hit by a car was like her hitting into a car.
Yeah, like she walked into a car. Cause I've done that. I've been like, oh, bee!
Well, I gotta
and
tell
I,
you,
walk into a screen door.
I remember when we were younger, as of like a specific note, we were over at a friend's house, and I ran into like the side mirror on a very strong side mirror on a car, and I was bruised for a long time, and that car was not moving. So you get hit with a moving car, you're gonna get fucked up. I don't care how fast it's going. Fuck up your neck. Everything's all fucked.
Yeah, but that's her hitting a car, not her getting hit by a car.
Yeah, which is like.
I just don't. I don't. Well, okay. I know why it was hilarious. I was fucked up when I looked it up.
Oh, bees.
I'm just like, she's been attacked by bees several times. Just like the audacity to make up bee attacks.
Well, it makes me wonder if like she needs to get checked for like hallucinations or something then, because her being like, it was a huge swarm of bees, and everyone else is like, there was like a couple bees, man. There was like a couple.
I don't think she's hallucinating. I think
outdoors is a lot of bees.
She's lying and doesn't care that she gets caught because negative attention is attention.
Maybe. That's, hey.
Again.
And you're not the first person to say that she potentially has Munchausen's from your exhaustive research of her.
Yeah, exactly.
Hours and hours spent staring at photos of her.
I'm a dirty bite, baby. My behavior has a built-in excuse. Bite power.
You go into his room, and there's just a map, pictures of Jamila. Just
anatomical diagrams.
Red yarn strung all across the room.
Bees?
I'm so close.
Question mark?
I'm so close. I might understand it.
I built an apiary in my room so that I might better understand the psychology of Jamila Jamil.
What are you doing here? I'm getting to the bottom of the Bee-Luminati. Yeah, that was a stretch.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
Illuminati. We could call this episode Illuminati.
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 You got to shorten it again. You had to short an insult as to dirty bipe. So
yep. I'm a dirty bipe.
Yeah, that's the Irish. Watch out when they get a hold of that one. They're never going to want to stop saying it.
Bipe
it just rolls off the tongue when
Can't
you're
say
Irish.
it unless I give you explicit written permission that you do not have.
Yeah,
Rory's
that stops people.
Go ahead, Rory. Bust one off.
I already did. I just did it. I don't want to overuse it because then it loses the appeal.
One's for me. I'm bipolar. I can ask you to do this.
Fine. Bipe.
Well, that made me sad.
Yeah, son of a bitch. I'm going to club you with this microphone.
Oh, we have fun here.
Yeah. I think we're good.
I think so. I just want to make sure there wasn't anything else in my little bad of dreams that I want to talk about.
I think our experiment to piss off the audience and then bring them back and then piss them off again was successful this episode.
I think so.
I'll be impressed if people listen to the end on this one because this one was just a lot of us just being like, the world is mad. I'm so sad and mad.
Very angry.
Stamping into the ground. Oh, look at him.
Oh, those Skimbo lounge. Oh, Rory dropped his mic.
It's like, this is like when if we would have been younger, like our parents would come home from work, be like, why are you digging that hole in the backyard? I don't know. You're just sitting there depressed. I just needed something to do with my hands. Maybe I'll bury myself in it later.
That is podcasting.
Yeah.
You've described podcasting to a T.
Yeah. Just digging a hole in a trance out in your backyard. Oh, you hit the water main.
And all the Jamila Jamil fans come out and go, she's a fine, perfect
She's
angel.
A national treasure.
You're the devil.
Taught me I have glaucoma.
The last note I have written down here is simply, it's not cool to fat shame, but it is if you put it on a sticker. I don't know when I came up with that, but I stand by it.
Just the big glittery bubble lettered bumper sticker. Fat shame.
You're fat.
Yeah.
Well, we're selling sex to people on this podcast.
That's right.
They're just imagining us.
They just don't know. They just don't know yet.
Pouring broth on ourselves with ladles.
Pass the honey.
How decadent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's an image to go out on. Think of me and Rory oiling ourselves.
Oh,
like
sexy.
Sea lions.
It's getting all caught up in my hair.
Goodness.
Look at that.
Who's going to lick the chunks of gruel out of the grooves in my body?
Oh, it's making a messy knot of my chest hair.
Someone better come rip it out with her teeth.
Oh, now I understand why waxing is so painful.
Now I understand why we're both alone.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It's hard out here for a bipe.
Dirty bipe.
Bipe power.
All right.
So we're done. Do you have anything you would like to plug, Rory?
No, not this week.
Okay, me either.
Same old, same olds.
Pretty much status quo here on the Skimbo Lounge. So until next time, thank you. Go fuck yourselves. And goodbye.